Good morning, and welcome to the first workshop of the Housing Expo. I'm Saharbe Hudifar, the Community Development Specialist with Loudoun County Office of Housing, and I'm moderating this session. Today's workshop is about the first-time buying programs, and we have 5 presenters to go over all the housing programs and services in Northern Virginia. If you have any question along the way, just click on the question mark on the right, in a circle on the right side of your screen, type your question and we will answer your question as soon as we can. I'll introduce each panel member before they start their presentation. And our first panelist is Ms. Belinda Halimola, Education and Outreach Specialist with U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Welcome, Belinda.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the 2020 Northern Virginia Housing Expo, virtual Housing Expo. We're so excited to do this brand new way to see you and you to join us. We are very excited. I know I am. So I had to wake everybody up. So, you know, I'm the first one. Okay. So, yes, I am with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. This is probably my 10th year with the Northern Virginia Housing Expo. So I want to tell you guys that we really appreciate the fact that you have, you know, got up this morning, sit at your webcam with your coffee and your pajamas, and come on and join us this morning to hear what we have to say. So right now, I am going to show my screen. So bear with me if I don't do this right, okay? I hope I do. I hope I do. Did I do this right? Can people see it?
Yes, indeed.
Yes. Oh, they can. Okay, so I guess I need to see it. Okay, here we go. All right, so I'm going to talk about FHA first-time home buying. You know, during this particular time, I first want to express my concern for each and every one of us and you out there in the audience that the COVID-19 pandemic has really put, you know, us in a position where we've really had to change our lifestyles and our thought and our processes. And I hope each and every one of you have been able to weather through this storm and all of the other civil unrest that we're dealing with right now. So we do want to encourage, this whole point of the Housing Expo is to take away any fears, any concerns, and to re-energize your thoughts that this is a time to consider home buying. I found this quote in that it said, "Is it a good time to purchase a home?" And so it said, "Make strong, well-informed choices and then execute them." And I think that statement is about everything in life. But as it pertains to home buying, this is where I'm going to center my presentation. Strong, well-informed choices and execute them. You'll find out through this Housing Expo that there are many, the lenders, the counselors, the real estate agents, everyone is going to help you make those strong, well-informed choices. And then hopefully you will feel confident to execute them and become a first-time home buyer. So what steps should you take? Now you see these blocks. Now I'm not going to dare go through all of these. You're going to have qualified people through the Housing Expo, and I hope you have signed up for workshops that will take you through this process or the processes that will be presented to you, so you'll understand how to purchase your first home. But through my presentation, I'm only going to talk about 2 of these, and that is know your rights and shop for a loan, okay? Now, know your rights, you will learn it comes from very different avenues. One is that from HUD is housing discrimination, our Fair Housing Equal Opportunity. You can go to our website and make sure that you know what your rights are so that you can avoid predatory lending, to make sure that you're not steered into going to purchase homes in certain neighborhoods, that you're not being, it used to be called redlining, that unfortunately some people believe that you can't still not supposed to live in certain neighborhoods. And then there's the other thing, and about the actually purchasing home, the documents through the Consumer Financial Protection Board. They have a 3-day waiting period where you can receive closing disclosure. And what that means is that the lender is required to provide borrowers a closing disclosure at least 3 business days prior to the close of their mortgage. That means you can actually see the final actual terms of your mortgage, including your interest rate, your closing costs, your monthly payment, and other things. You have 3 days to make up your mind. Purchasing a home can be a very stressful situation, and sometimes you may feel in that closed space where I just have to go through this. I'm not going to ask any questions. I've come this far. Let me just do this. We don't believe, things can go wrong, but there are times where there's a bait and switch. These 3 days prior to the closing date will give you an opportunity to ask additional questions. So know your rights. So shop for a loan.
Sorry, Belinda, to interrupt you. So which slide are you on?
Oh, can you see it?
No, I'm still on the slide 1.
Okay, I'm moving it along and you guys can't see it?
No.
Could you maybe pause? If you go to the
Sure.
sharing tab, there should be a button there. Just make sure it looks like the play sign and not a pause button. Are you in full screen mode, Belinda? Oh, it looks like she might have just paused.
Okay. Belinda, can you hear us? Okay, I think she's disconnected maybe.
Well, now
Yeah, I can move to the next presenter, and then we can come back to Belinda, all right?
all right.
Okay. Our next presenter is Regina Pinkney, Regional Business Development Officer with Virginia Housing. Regina? Regina, we cannot hear you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Regina Pinkney, a Business Development Officer for the Virginia Housing. We are just changing our name from VHDA to the Virginia Housing instead of the Virginia Housing Development Authority. So it's a pleasure to be here today. I have to ask you all, can you see the first slide of my presentation?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Yes.
You can? Beautiful.
Yes.
All right. So, Virginia Housing, also known as VHDA, is well, my slides aren't moving either. Virginia Housing is the housing finance agency for the state of Virginia. And we were created in 1972 by the Virginia General Assembly. And our mission is to help Virginians attain quality affordable housing. And that's a very simple and beautiful mission. And we do that in several ways. One of the things that we do is that we have our Virginia REACH program, grant program. And about 60% of our net revenue gets contributed to that Virginia REACH program. It is the pool from which we draw the funds to support your communities throughout Virginia. And we do that with lower interest mortgages, subsidized interest rates, grants, grants for veterans for rehab, free homebuyer education grants to help spread homebuyer education throughout the state, and low interest loans for developers who focus on affordable housing, both rental and home ownership. I'm going to try to move this slide again. Please bear with me just a moment. And we'll get this going again. All right, now can you all see the screen now?
Yes.
Yes.
Beautiful. All right, so we are a quasi-state agency, and so that means that we have the ability to administer housing choice vouchers and housing credit programs as well. We fund community revitalization efforts. So why would we focus on homeownership? Homeownership is vital to our economy in Virginia. Homeownership is how individuals and families build wealth over time, and that wealth stabilizes neighborhoods, which then supports the school systems, the parks, and other local amenities. And housing is the 6th largest industry in our state. So it excites us to already have 70% of the housing units in Virginia be owner-occupied. So how do we advance our mission? Through our home buyer program. The first and I would say almost most important of which is our home buyer education class. It covers the entire process. From the moment that you decide to even think about buying a house and you create your spending plan, to the contract, to the language of the lender, to the language of the closing agent, home inspection, the works. It is a great and comprehensive class. And what's awesome about it is that it's free. It's offered in English and Spanish. We offer it in person and online in both languages. And online, which is currently available, the class is self-paced. You get 30 days to take your time, take the class, you print your certificate, and the certificate is good for 2 years. So, more slide trouble, folks, I apologize. So, think of the HPA as an umbrella. Under that umbrella, we take the loan types that you're used to hearing about all of your life, and we give them a little something extra to increase your buying power and to increase affordability. So we have our FX6 mortgage, VA mortgage, rural housing, also known as USDA, and then we have our own program called the Plus Section for folks who need to borrow a down payment. We have 2 conventional loan products called the Fannie Mae Reduced Semi-Mortgage with mortgage insurance that's about a little more than 50% of the cost of normal mortgage insurance. And then we have our Fannie Mae no mortgage insurance loan. So 3% down and no mortgage insurance included. For our government-issued loan program, there is a first-time home buyer requirement. In fact, all of our programs, except for the 2 conventional Fannie Mae loans, require you to be a first-time home buyer. And our definition of a first-time home buyer may not be what you think it is. So you might be a first-time home buyer and not know it, and you may have friends who are, so they tell you what that is. A first-time home buyer is someone who has not lived in a home they owned in the last 3 years, according to our guidelines. This definition may vary depending on what other assistance you seek. But for VHDA, you cannot have lived in a home you owned in the last 3 years. Then you are a first-time home buyer. So, with our government program, we need a minimum 620 credit score. You're going to borrow 96.5% of the sales price, up to, that's the maximum on an FHA loan. And then for VA loans, for veterans and rural housing loans, they are 100% financing automatically, no down payment required. Now, with our Fannie Mae loans, our conventional products, these 2 are offered to first-time home buyers and repeat homeowners. So you may sell a home and buy a bigger home, or you may be downsizing and choose to use one of these programs. All of our loans are 30-year fixed-rate mortgages. The Fannie Mae loans allow you to use gifts, our down payment assistance program if you're a first-time home buyer, as well our second plus mortgage if you're a first-time home buyer. The Fannie Mae Reduced Mortgage Insurance Program, again, requires 3% down, a 640 minimum credit score, and your debt-to-income ratio should be 45% and no more. And so that is 45% of your monthly gross income before taxes and insurance come out. You're going to borrow a maximum of 97% of the sales price, meaning 3% down. And then all of our loan programs have maximum income limits and sales price limits, and they vary throughout the state. For more information, you can go to dhda.com/loan limit. Now, let's talk about the good stuff, free money. We have a down payment assistance grant, truly a gift. It goes on the loan application the same place a gift from a family member would go. And we forgive it at settlement. It's not recorded anywhere, and you never, ever, ever have to pay it back. So the maximum grant allowed us 2.5% of your purchase price. And you can combine our grant with other down payment assistance programs. There may be some programs that help in your community, and you'll hear more about that later today. And then DPA, or down payment assistance grantees, are also eligible for our mortgage credit certificate. And I love that little guy lifting that bar. Our mortgage credit certificate is awesome. If you get a VHDA loan, we give you the MCC for free. You just need to let your loan officer know, hey, I want the MCC. And what the mortgage credit certificate is its IRS code. And it allows you, the homeowner, once you close, to convert 10% of the interest that you paid every year on your mortgage to a dollar-for-dollar tax credit on your federal income taxes. So if you paid $10,000 in interest, 10% is $1,000. If Uncle Sam says you owe him $14,000 for taxes, you get to take that $1,000 off of what you owe Uncle Sam every single year you live in that home. MCC requirements are that you must be a first-time home buyer. It must be your primary residence. There are also income, sales price, and acreage limits for the MCC. You can't have more than 5 acres and get the MCC, and that's, again, IRS code. And one of the most important things about the MCC is you must make sure that you have your commitment before you go to closing. Because once you go to closing, guess what? You're no longer a first-time home buyer and no longer eligible for the mortgage credit certificate. So tell your loan officer well in advance that you want the MCC and make sure that you sign the MCC application and fact sheet. Now, for folks who make more money than is allowed to receive our grant, they still may need some help with the down payment. And that's where our plus second mortgage comes in. It actually allows you to borrow 100% of your required down payment for 30 years fixed at the same interest rate as your first trust. So you have a first and a second covering anywhere from 100% of the sales price to, with a 680 credit score above, 101.5% of the sales price, which means you get to keep more of your money in the bank, or you can write a more assertive offer and not ask the seller for as much in closing cost assistance. Speaking of closing cost assistance, remember earlier I mentioned the VA loan and the USDA or RHS loan that are automatically 100% financing? Well, for folks within the income limit for our grant who choose to use those 100% financing products, we have our closing cost assistance grant. We call it our CCA, and that is a flat 2% of the sales price of the home that goes towards your closing costs, since you already have 100% financing on the loan, and again, makes the process a little more affordable for you. Spark, sponsoring partnerships and revitalizing communities. I love this program as well. It is a free reduction in your VHTA interest rate for free. Did I say free? I did. Okay. 1%. So today's rate, and this is not today's rate, but let's say today's rate was 3.75. If you had Spark, your rate would be 2.75 for 30 years fixed, and it wouldn't cost you a penny, and it wouldn't cost your lender a penny to give it to you. Spark is supported by local government and nonprofits and housing industry partners. And you can pair Spark with the grant, with the second mortgage. It's very flexible and very helpful in making homeownership more affordable. So here is our masterpiece, the loan combo. It starts out with free home buyer education, and then your loan officer structures a portable mortgage. They apply the grant or the second trust and the MCC to give you a package, a loan, one-stop shopping that will help you not only make your home ownership affordable, but sustainable. So how do you get all this? You go to an approved VH lender. Not all lenders can do a VHDA loan. We have about 86 companies throughout the Commonwealth, banks, mortgage lenders, and credit unions that are approved to do our loan. And you can find them at vhda.com/homebuyers/find-lender. And then when you apply for the loan, you would complete your loan application and let your lender know that you want Spark, the MCC, the grant, or the second trust as is you're eligible for. And then your loan officer would complete that application. You would get a ratified contract. Your loan would be processed and underwritten, and then you would go to closing. But your loan officer and your real estate agent are definitely where you start. Thank you.
Thank you, Regina. I got a question for you. I got a question from the attendees.
Sure.
They ask if, do we get a certificate at the end?
Yes, you do. When you complete your class online, you do get a certificate at the end. You can save that, email it to your loan officer, and it's good for 2 whole years.
And another question is, who is going to pay closing costs?
Who's going to pay closing costs? Well, if you use our second trust and you have a 680 credit score, we allow you to finance 1.5% of the sales price to cover the closing costs. Or on the rural housing loan, remember we have our CCA for our USDA and VA loans. That's 2% of the sales price to cover closing costs. You can also ask the seller to help cover closing costs. And of course, closing costs can come out of your own pocket.
Okay, and the last question, which is still related to that closing cost, is that, and can we pay 10% down payment?
Yes, you can. You can have a total combined assistance of 10% down with our grant. So if you get 2% from us, then you can put in 8% for a total of 10% down. But you cannot have more than 10% down, including our grant funds, and still get our grant funds.
Thank you very much. So now we move to Belinda again. Thanks for coming back, Belinda. So
Hey.
hopefully this time works for you. Thank you.
Hello, hello. I wasn't going to leave forever. So we're going to try this again. If not, I'm just going to continue. Can you guys see it now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. What I do want to know, are you seeing the screens change?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, you can see the screens change. Okay, we're good then. All right. So I'm going to pick up where I left off. So for those who may be joining in new or picked up where I left off, again, I'm Belinda Falamola with the Department of HUD. I'm the Education Outreach Specialist, and my presentation is about FHA loans. So that's where I am on this screen. Now, as I had said earlier, for those who may just be joining, is that this is a time where some people may not, first-time home buyers may be a little fearful. Is this the right time to purchase a home? And my whole statement that is the center of my presentation is make strong, well-informed choices and then execute them. One of the things that you might be concerned about is, do I need 20% down payment? You just heard that you don't necessarily need that. I may have student loans. Each lender may have a program. FHA has a program on how they underwrite the millennials who may have student loans. Credit scores. Yes, FHA has a credit score of 580. And then lenders may have an overlay of asking for 620, maybe 680 during this COVID time. So again, this whole housing expo is to make sure that you get the information you need so you can make a well-informed choices and then execute them. So shop for a loan. There's different types of loans out there, as you just heard. VHDA has different types of loan. I'm here to talk about FHA. Now, FHA has been around since 1934, and it is to help with low down payments, as we just talked about earlier, low closing costs, easy credit qualifying. That means, as I just said, let's start with the easy credit qualifying. During this time, there is, difficulty possibly with people with credit score issues. I'll talk about that later on. But those who have been able to maintain their job, employment, you may have been able to maintain your credit score. Make sure that you have at least a 580 credit score, and then low closing costs. There are many programs out there, and I'll just tell you how you can tie into that, find out how you can get assistance through closing costs and down payment assistance. Each jurisdiction, each state has down payment assistance programs, and I'll tell you in a few minutes how you find out where those low down payment assistance programs are available. Now, everybody's heard about HUD homes. Those are homes that were foreclosed upon, and then HUD brought them back into their portfolio, real estate owned REOs, as we call them. And so we have a program called the Good Neighbor Next Door. This is where law enforcement officers pre-kindergarten, 12th grade teachers, firefighters, and emergency medical technicians have an opportunity to purchase homes with a 50% discount. So if you go to the HUD Home Store, you will click on the Good Neighbor Next Door program icon. And if you're in Virginia, if you're in um, Maryland, if you're in DC, wherever you are, you would see whether or not there are homes available under the Good Neighbor Next Door program. The process would be the same. You would still bid on that home. So for instance, if the home is listed for $100,000, remember FHA does not increase the value of the home. So if it's listed as $100,000, you would bid on it at $100,000, or if you want it bad enough, you bid on it 120. So say for instance, you went on and bid on it at $100,000, you would win that bid at $100,000. And at the closing, you would get the discount of $50,000. You would $50,000. And then you would have to have an agreement that you would stay in the house for at least 36 months to get the opportunity to get that discount. So again, if you bid and won, you would be able to get that house for 50% at the amount that you bid it on. The Good Neighbor Next Door program. So this is what I'm very excited about. This is what I asked the host to allow me to be part of this opportunity to be a panelist. This is HUD's or FHA's best kept secret. It's the HUD approved housing counseling agency. I have worked with them for over 15 years, and I'm telling you, you could not have a better resource than HUD approved housing counseling agencies. They not only help first time home buyers, but they help repeat home buyers. They help current homeowners. They help those who are having issues with your credit. They help you with renting, foreclosures, any issues that you may have. HUD approved housing counseling agencies are there to support you. There is the telephone number. Please call them if you're looking for one at 800-569-4287. I can give you 100 success stories that you just wouldn't believe. They've helped so many people with first-time home buyers. I've actually used them myself. I am also a congressional liaison. I've had congressional staffers to call me to say that they had a constituent that was having issue with a reverse mortgage, that was having an issue with, trying to save their home, even trying to do first-time home buying issues, and they were caught up in a situation. I always recommend HUD-approved housing counselors to come in and work with first-time home buyers, because they're the ones that can help you find out what the down payment assistance programs that are available in your area. They can help you with how to help you with the closing costs. They will sit down with you and go over all the documents that are involved in first-time home buying. The one thing I love about a HUD-approved housing counseling agency, they're not only there with you at the beginning and helping you maneuver the process of first-time home buying, but they're also available with you after you get the keys to your home, because you still got to budget, you're still gonna have your credit. They're very helpful for those millennials who are trying to decide, is this the right time for me to purchase? And I have all these student loans. How do I deal with that? Am I going to be able to still buy? They will be able to sit down with you and provide you guidance and information. Again, as I said earlier, the whole point of this presentation is to make strong, well-informed choices and then execute them. HUD-approved housing counseling agencies are there to help you make those strong, well-informed choices and then execute them. I just know that I just know that this is the opportunity for you guys to hopefully that you'll get a lot from these presentations today, that you will, through the exhibit hall, reach out to HUD approved housing counseling agencies, attend some of their workshops. I'm available. Here's my contact information. Because of COVID-19, I'm not in the office, but I'm offering my cell number at 240-460-5312. Please text me if you have any questions. Now, I'm stepping outside of the box. This housing expo is about first-time home buying, and I'm certainly available to offer any assistance in that or provide you any guidance in that direction. But we also know there's other things that are going on in our communities. So if you have any other questions about anything about housing as a whole, please reach out to me. You can text me, you can email me, and I'm available. So thank you so much for allowing me to come back and
Thank you, Belinda. I have a
yeah.
question for you.
Sure.
Is the Good Neighbor Next Door program only for teachers, or other school staff can also apply?
It is for teachers.
Okay. Thank you. And I said thank you, and let's move on to the presenter. We've got only 25 minutes. All right, our next presenter is Mr. Jimmy Kimbrough, Affordable Dwelling Unit Purchase Program Specialist with Loudoun County Office of Housing. Jimmy?
Good morning, everyone. As Sahar said, I'm Jimmy Kimbrough with the Loudoun County Office of Housing. The Loudoun County Office of Housing is a new office that is set up under county administration. We offer a variety of housing programs to assist with home ownership and rental, as well as financial assistance. We have programs that offer with home improvements and repairs for existing homeowners. We also have education programs as well as housing grants and loans. Today, I'm going to speak with you guys about our home ownership programs specifically. Our home ownership programs assist low to moderate income first-time home buyers. So first-time home buyer guidelines for our program is you had no ownership interest in real property in the U.S. or abroad in the last 3 years. Our primary home ownership programs are our Affordable Dwelling Unit Purchase Program, our Down Payment Closing Cost Assistance Program, our Public Employee Grant Program, and then our Sponsoring Partnerships and Revitalizing Communities SPARK program. All of our home ownership programs are income-based. So for our ADU program, our down payment closing cost program, and our public employee grant program, you have to have an income that is between 30 and 70% of the area median income. The ADU program, based on household size, the ADU program, the income is adjusted for the household size, for the down payment and closing cost program, and then our public employee grant program. Those both are based on a 4-person household regardless of the household size. Again, those 3 programs, you have to be at 30 to 70% of the area median income. Our SPARK program is for those folks that are 70 to 100% of the area median income, and like the down payment and closing costs program, it is based on a 4-person household regardless of household size. The ADU program assists first-time home buyers with purchasing a home at a much lower price than the average market sales price in Loudoun County. So in April of 2020, the median income price for a home in Loudoun County was about $540,000. Our ADU homes typically sell on average for about $150,000 to $175,000. We have new and what we call resale homes. Our new homes are purchased directly from the builder throughout Loudoun County. And then our existing homes or resales can be purchased from current ADU homeowners when available. An additional resource that we have in the county is Loudoun County's Habitat for Humanity. Habitat for Humanity is a nonprofit that offers a variety of their own programs for home ownership, as well as home repair, and then education and information sessions. If you'd like more information about Loudoun Habitat's programs, you would go to their website at www.loudounhabitat.org. And then my last slide just reiterates the income guidelines. Again, the ADU program is at 30 to 70% of the AMI, as well as the DPCC and the PEG program, both 30 to 70% of the AMI. And then the SPARK program is 70 to 100% of the AMI. And just to reiterate, ADU is adjusted for household size, whereas the other three are based on 4-person household, regardless of the household size. And let me back up there. I think I skipped a slide. Sorry about that. So just to break down our financial assistance programs for you, the down payment closing cost assistance program that helps folks with down payment and closing costs at purchase. They are a loan of 10% of the sales price or up to $25,000. The loans are for 30 years. They're 5% interest and secured by a second mortgage. Our public employee grant program, again, this is a forgivable loan of up to $10,000 for the purchase of a home. It's forgiven over 5 years at 0 interest and secured by a second mortgage also. Our public employee grant program is specifically for Loudoun County employees of the county school system, and then courts and constitutional officers. The SPARK program is low mortgage allocation from VHDA, or what is now Virginia Housing. The household incomes must be between 70 and 100% of the AMI, and applicants must receive a mortgage loan from an approved Virginia Housing lender.
Thank you, Jimmy. I got a question, which I think it's related to the priorities for ADU programs. So one of the attendees said that they contacted Loudoun County Office of Housing and they were told that the waiting list is more than 2 years and the chances are low because they don't live in the county. So I think it's related to the priority. Would you like to go over it?
Yes. So our ADU purchase program, when someone applies, they are given a priority based on where they live and work. So priority one folks, so priority one is given to those clients or applicants that currently live and work in the county of Loudoun. Priority two is given to those who work in the county but may live outside. So say they work in Loudoun, but they live in Fairfax or Prince William or one of the other counties nearby. Third priority goes to those who live in the county but work outside the county. So the opposite of priority two. And then priority four is for everyone else. So priority four will be given to anyone who currently, when they applied, did not live or work in the county of Loudoun.
All right, great. Thank you so much. We move on to our next presenter, Angela Bassett, Community Development Analyst with Prince William Office of Housing and Community Development. Angie?
Hi, everyone. Welcome to, this is groundbreaking, having a virtual expo. This may be the wave of the future, folks. So I'm glad that you tuned in, and this is being recorded and will be available for future viewing. I'm here to tell you about Prince William County's first-time homebuyer program, and I hope that I can get my PowerPoint to work. Okay. All right, can you all see the screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. So Prince William County's first-time homebuyer program, we provide down payment and closing cost assistance for qualified low to moderate income first-time home buyers as defined by HUD, which is you cannot have owned a property within the most recent 3 years. Our applicants currently live in Prince William or they work in Prince William. And Prince William's a beautiful county, so come out and check us out. We're only 20 minutes from the Beltway. The assistance that we provide is secured by a second trust. However, it's a silent second, meaning that it's 0% interest rate with no monthly payments. The loan is forgiven if you keep the property as your primary residence for 30 years. So just when you pay off your first trust mortgage, the second trust goes away magically and you never have to pay it back. If you decide to sell the property within the 30-year period, then you do have to pay it back from the proceeds of the sale. And there is a provision for shared market appreciation. Now, prior to applying, we do require that all applicants complete financial and housing education. And this has been touched on by the people that spoke before me. We require that our applicants complete these courses through the Prince William County Virginia Cooperative Extension. And I believe they're an exhibitor today, so you might want to check them out. Other program resources, and this is everyone's talked about this SPARK program with Virginia Housing. Wherein if the property that the home buyer buys is located in a designated census tract, they will be eligible for a 1% rate reduction. We do have funding available, so if you have any questions, please feel free to give our office a call. These funds are reserved for our first-time home buyers only. So some of the benefits, obviously, you own your own home. You're not paying somebody else's mortgage. Landlords can, at the end of your lease, they may decide to increase your rent by $50 a month or $100 when the rental market's hot. So in this case, you own the home. You know that your rent's not going to be, or your payments are not going to go up $100 a month. There's the first-time homebuyer program, because of the fact that we're giving 20 to 30% down. The 3% is towards closing costs. The 20 to 30% down payment, it's a conventional, your first trust loan is going to be a conventional loan. There's no mortgage insurance. So your saving could be a couple $100 a month in your monthly payment. The fact that you have 20 or 30% down, for example, say $300,000 sales price. And if a family is eligible for the 30% down payment, their first trust loan is, that's a $90,000 down payment. Their first trust loan is only going to be $210,000. So for, let's say you have 100% financing, your loan amount is going to be based on $300,000. With the assistance the county provides, your loan amount is going to be based on $210,000, and that makes a big difference and increases your buying power exponentially. The 3% we provide towards closing costs, and our borrowers only have to prove that they have 1% of the sales price. That's our minimum contribution, 1% of the sales price from the borrower's own funds. And we also like to see that they have 1 month housing payment left over. So we don't want you to go to closing, pay your 1% at closing, and then come home and not have enough to make your first mortgage payment. So we want to make sure that our clients are ready for that. Now, some of the basic eligibility criteria, you have to be a first-time home buyer, and HUD's definition is you cannot have owned property within the most recent 3 years. There are income restrictions. We follow HUD's guidelines because our program is federally funded. A family based on household size cannot exceed 80% of the area median income. And these tables are published by HUD. And we do have them available on our website. Now, if one of the household members has ever had a foreclosure, short sale, or a deed in lieu, there are certain restrictions. All adult household members must have a minimum credit score of 640. If anyone had a bankruptcy, it must have been discharged at least 2 years ago. If you filed bankruptcy last year, then you would not be eligible. There are no payday loans, no cash advances, no title loans. Can't have negative checking and savings account balances. And these, some people do apply and they don't realize that the negative checking and bank account, that's going to disqualify you, because we want to see that you're financially responsible and in a position to buy a home. These are the types of things that you'll learn when you attend our required classes through the Cooperative Extension. And one of them is the VHDA Home Ownership Seminar. And that's an excellent class that will help you, realize whether or not you're eligible, if you're in a position to buy, or just to see, if you're responsible and ready to become a first-time home buyer. On the credit, you cannot have any late payments within the last 12 months. no outstanding judgments, no outstanding collections. We do allow some medical, because a lot of times people have medical collections just because there was an insurance mix-up. So we view those a little bit differently. All adult members are required to complete the 3 required sessions offered through the Virginia Cooperative Extension in Prince William. And at the end of each session, they will receive a certificate of completion. So once you have all 3 certificates of completion, then you should be ready to submit your application. And again, to touch on, everyone must have at least 1% of your own funds, and that's 1% of the sales price, invested in the transaction. Now, those are some basic eligibility criteria. We loosely follow Virginia Housing, formerly known as VHDA. We follow their guidelines on their reduced MI program, even though we have no mortgage insurance. That would be a credit score of 640 and some of their other guidelines. We do have additional restrictions. Our ratios are a little bit lower. Now, I want to touch base on another program that we also have offer in Prince William County. Let's finish the how to get started. First-time homebuyer program, we have a form called the Readiness Self-Check. This is a series of yes or no questions. There are little stop signs at the end of each question. And if you can successfully get all the way through the end of the checklist, then you are ready to apply. If you hit a stop sign, then you need to take action, or you just don't qualify and you're not ready to submit an application. And once you pass through the Readiness Self-Check, then the next step would just be to apply. Submit all items that are listed on the application checklist. We have no wait list at this time, and typically the applications are reviewed within 1 to 2 business days of receipt. Now, this is the program that I was wanted to touch base on, the Neighborhood Housing Rehabilitation Program. Prince William County will provide financial assistance for repairs, and again, these are for low to moderate income families and homeowners in the area that would otherwise not be able to maintain sanitary, energy efficient, and accessible housing. All applicants must be the homeowner of the property, and it must be their primary residence. We do not make repairs for landlords. It must be your primary residence. And again, low to moderate income is any family that's 80% of the area median income or less. The rehab that we will pay for includes required and standard rehabilitation items identified within the project. The required items will be a grant and not part of the final 30-year deferred deed of trust or promissory notes. So the first, our program's a little unique. The first $25,000 of repair or
Mm-hmm.
rehabilitation, first $25,000 is a grant. Anything above the $25,000, that's secured by a 30-year deferred deed of trust or promissory note. And that's basically will be your third trust for if you were a home buyer and you had a first trust, second trust, and then this would be a third trust. And it's same terms, 0% interest, no monthly payment. After 30 years, it's granted. And if you sell the property prior to the 30-year period, then you would repay the loan from the proceeds of the sale. Now, some of the items that we will that include in rehab are, roofs. If the roof is 15 years or older and it's deteriorating or it's leaking into the house, those are roofs that we would take a look at and repair or replace. Exterior doors. Over time, a lot of doors, sunlight comes through the sides. They're not energy efficient. We will replace exterior doors. Windows. Many of our people have windows that 20 years old, 15 years old. They're not efficient. You can feel air coming through. We will replace those types of windows with more energy efficient units. Water heaters. Water heaters, if they're more than 15 years old, they may be running perfectly one day, and then all of a sudden they just die the next day and flood your utility room. So those are types of items we will replace as well. Insulation. We will install insulation in your attic if you don't feel that your house is properly insulated. Toilets are replaced with energy efficient water saver options. And appliances that we replace are replaced with Energy Star rated, more energy efficient appliances. Now, if you're interested in the first time homebuyer program, you may contact me at 703-492-2302. If you are interested in the neighborhood housing rehabilitation program, you may contact David Watkins at 703-492-2303 and Amira Gonzalez at 703-492-2301. And the reason I bring up the neighborhood housing rehabilitation program is many of our first-time homebuyers have also received assistance through the neighborhood housing rehabilitation program. You know, the house they move into, many of the homes purchased by first-time homebuyers are 10 years, 15 or 20 years old. And, you know, things start to fall apart within that time. So they're also eligible to apply for this assistance. Now, if you're interested in any of these programs, please visit us at www.pwcgov.org/housing. And I want to add one more thing. Prince William County currently has one ADU unit. If you have questions about the ADU process in Prince William County, please contact Ms. Amira Gonzalez at 703-492-2301.
Thank you, Angie. There's a question
Thank
for
you.
you. If someone
Yes.
take a homeowner class in Fairfax County, can they be eligible for FTHB program in Prince William County?
Did they take the classes in Fairfax County?
Yeah.
Okay, no, they have to take the classes through the cooperative extension in Prince William.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right, now we move to our last presenter, Carol Earhart. Ms. Carol Earhart, Director, Homeownership and Relocation Services Division with Fairfax County Department of Housing and Community Development. Carol?
Good morning, everyone. In the time I have left today, I have two goals. Well, one is to give you kind of a broad overview of our program. And then the other goal is to tell you how you can find out more about our program. So at the end, I'll even show you how to navigate on our website if there's time remaining. So we do have a first-time homebuyers program that we've administered for over 30 years now. In the last 2 years, we've also received workforce dwelling units, which the Board of Supervisors has approved for people with higher incomes. And you don't necessarily have to be a first-time home buyer for that particular program. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Great, okay. So we follow the same definition pretty much as everybody else that you've heard from already today. We do have a few exceptions. If you are a single parent, either divorced or never married, and you previously had ownership interest, you don't have to be a first-time home buyer as long as you are no longer on the deed or living in the unit that you formerly owned. Same thing, similar with the displaced homemaker. If they're widowed or divorced and they never really held a job, they were pretty much in the home, they too would be given the benefit of being a first-time home buyer as long as they no longer have any ownership interest and have their name removed from any deed where they were listed. For people that are 55 and older, if they're buying in an age-restricted community, they do not have to be a first-time home buyer. They can actually still be living in the home, but they do have to sell the home prior to moving into an ADU or a WDU. And people that are owners of subsidized cooperatives, they are not considered for the benefit of our program, are not considered to own a home, so they would be eligible for as a first-time home buyer in our program. We do have income limits because of the overlay between the workforce dwelling units and our regular program. We wanted to show you kind of the whole range of income tiers that we serve here. So our typical first-time home buyer program, whoops, let me back up here. I'm not getting back to that screen. Let me see, can I do it here? Let me see, try, there we go, okay. Those units are for families with income at or below 70% of area median. So if you are a family of 4 and you're making no more than 84,900, you would be eligible. So you would find here your how many family members you have and go across. Let's say you're a family of 4 and you make $100,000. Well, you would be over income for the first-time homebuyer program, over income for 80% ADUs, but not over income for the 100 or the 120% WDUs that we have available. So, and these are priced based on an individual's income category. So sometimes we have 80, 100, and 120% WDUs in the same community. The only difference is the price. And all of these units, no one's really mentioned it, but all of these units come to us through what's called inclusionary zoning, and where a developer that's building developments of 50 or more units, they have to provide units within their development at below market prices. Sometimes they are smaller than the market rate units or have different features, but it does allow people that normally can't afford to live in these developments the opportunity to do so. We currently have some at West Oaks Corner in Fairfax, Virginia. So just to give you an example of what we've got, 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a garage unit selling for $227,058. We also have currently an age-restricted community. If you're 55 or older and you're looking for an active adult community and want to downsize from your other home, you could buy at the Crest of Alexandria. During the COVID crisis, you can go see Amy Gerace, who's listed here with her phone number. Call her, and she will set up an individual tour for you so that you don't have to worry about, being with other people to see the units there. Sharon Shields is on our staff, and she can answer any questions about qualifying for the program. We do have 1-bedroom, 1-bath units there and 2-bedroom, 1-bath units there for $146 and about $188. They have a 5,000 square foot clubhouse with a full-time activity coordinator to promote activities for the 55 plus community. They've got outside kitchen and pickleball courts and the works, everything designed for an active community. And you can see what the kitchen looks like in one of our units here. Oops, let me see. Okay, and this is an example of a WD that we have at the Signet in McLean, where they're selling $1 million homes in this building here. They also have some WDUs that are priced for families with income below the 120%. So we have a 1-bedroom unit there and a 2-bedroom unit there. This first floor here has restaurants, and then a lot of it is also for the fitness center. The fitness center is included in the HOA fee, and the first year of HOA fees is waived at this community. And you can see this is an example of a kitchen in one of our WDUs. It's all stainless steel soft touch appliances and granite countertops, laminate flooring. The kitchen, the bathrooms are tiled flooring. So they're really nice. And again, if you are interested, Yvette Monet on our staff, here's her email here that you can reach out to her and she'll tell you more about those. We have a 5-step process. The first step is an orientation session normally, where we spend an hour explaining all the details. Obviously, I don't have that time today. And actually, what I'm suggesting at this point, because of COVID-19, our next orientation session is supposed to be on July 6th. At this point, the county has not authorized opening buildings for large group meetings. So we're actually working now to prepare a Microsoft Teams live meeting so that we can have our next orientation session remotely and you can attend through Teams. So so my goal is to have that up and running before our July 6th next scheduled orientation would happen, because I don't think it's going to be able to happen in person. For homebuyer education, because we're now offering federal down payment assistance, you're required to go to a HUD counseling agency. I'll give you more about that in a minute. Then you would meet with the lender The lender would complete one of our pre-approval letters. You'd submit your application with your home buyer education certificate, your lender letter, and all other documents. And then we would give you a passport that would allow you to enter into drawings. People say, well, how long is your waiting list? We actually don't have a waiting list in Fairfax County. You determine how long you want to wait based on what units you're interested in and what units your lender says you can afford based on your income. Then you would enter into the drawing for that. For your information, I put together a list of the HUD housing counseling agencies in the Fairfax and surrounding region. You can also go to HUD's website and look for any others that you'd like to go to, but these are probably the closest. I would recommend that you reach out to them sooner rather than later. Some of them have fairly extensive waits. So rather than waiting for our orientation session, that's why I said I would recommend, if you're interested, that you start with the HUD Housing Counseling Agency. And you heard from Belinda and others how wonderful they are to help prepare you for what's best for you so that you can make those informed decisions. This little chart is on our website. It's similar to what you heard Angela say with Prince William. We do have debt to income ratios you have to meet, a credit score. By the way, if you don't know these things about yourself, this is one more reason to go to a HUD housing counselor, because they will work through all of this with you. These are our requirements on the program. Your lender may have different requirements. Sometimes they're less lenient than ours. But this is what we, in Fairfax County, we want to set you up to be successful also. So that's why we have these financial criteria. We have preferences in our program. You heard people talking about living or working. If you live or work in Fairfax County, you would get 5 preference points. If you have dependent children or you're the caretaker of a person with disabilities, you would get another point. And then depending on how many years you've been waiting to find the perfect unit for yourself, you would get up to 3 points for each year you've been waiting on our program. However, the primary preference is for the largest families that the units can hold. So in a 3-bedroom unit, most of them can hold up to 6 people. So we would then, based on these points, we would randomly sort you. So let's say we have that 3-bedroom townhouse to sell. We would put all the 6-bedroom, the 6-person families at the top of the list and then sorted by these preference points. So if someone had 6 people but 9 points, they'd be ahead of someone with 6 people and 5 points, or 6 people and, you know, on down the line. And it is randomly generated by a computer. So that's the list that we use to go by. So that's why I'm saying you enter in whatever drawing, depending on where you are with your family size. In Fairfax County, you actually don't have to live or work in Fairfax. Obviously, if you buy a unit on our program, you will be living in Fairfax. So you don't, just because you don't get this preference doesn't mean that you can't enter into our program. Everybody is eligible to apply to our program. We do have what we call priorities. And obviously in a senior community, you have to meet their age restriction to buy there. So no, you know, if you're not 55 and older, you can't live at the Crest of Alexandria. You have to meet that priority. We do have certain units that have accessibility features in them. Sometimes the accessibility feature is just that it's single level living. And sometimes it's because they actually have American with Disabilities Act features for people that are need wheelchairs. When we have those units, the top priority is for people that have that. So let's say we have 2 families that need mobility features. Those 2 families, regardless of other priority preference points, would be ahead of everybody else because the units are designed to serve them. And then I told you about our household size priority. This is the federal assistance that we are giving to people that buy units on our program. It's $10,000 that is forgivable if you live in the home for 5 years. If you have to move out prior to the 5 years, you would have to repay a prorated share of that, but it's interest free. The CDBG income limits are actually higher than the income limits for our first-time homebuyer program. You see them here. And so this assistance actually is able to be used for some of our WDUs. The WDU can be priced at 80, 100, or 120%. It's the family's income that has to be under 80%. So we have seen people buying our 80 and 100% WDUs taking advantage of this money as well. There are some, for purposes of time, I'm not going to go into this in great detail. In exchange for getting a property on our program with reduced price, there are covenants recorded on the property with certain restrictions for 30 years. Number one being that you must live in it as your primary residence. Annually, you must sign an occupancy affidavit saying, yes, I attest under notary of my signature that I am living in the property. There are limits on refinancing. If you need to refinance, a good thing is the mortgage rates are really, really low. So hopefully there won't be a need to refinance if you buy within this time frame. But if you do need to, you would have to only be able to refinance the outstanding principal balance. We don't allow you to take out home equity lines of credit on our ADUs. When you go to sell, you have to offer it back to the county because it would be a property that we would buy back and resell to somebody else that's interested in the program. And we would calculate the control price, excuse me, it goes up based on the consumer price index each year. So there is profit and equity that you're building in these homes, even though they are price restricted. After 30 years, if you're still there, you don't have to live in it anymore. You would be allowed to rent the property. You don't have to sign the occupancy affidavit. There are still some financing restrictions. You do still have to come back to the county first to offer it, but you could offer it to us at a market value. And then to preserve the affordability and equity shares calculated. And we go over all that material in our orientation. Lastly, if you say, oh, I really don't know about those price control things, I'm not sure about that. We too offer the Virginia housings. And look, Regina, I even changed it. I changed it this morning. Officially, you went to Virginia housing yesterday, and I changed it to Virginia housing, 1% mortgage interest rate reduction. So here in Northern Virginia, if you're, it's based on family size of 1 or 2 or 3 or more. Without their grant, your income could be as high as $138,200. The maximum home you could buy in Fairfax is $525,000. If you take their grant, this is their income limit. Similar with 3 or more in their household. If this is without the grant, your income can be this high. And if you take the grant, your income would be this high. You cannot use this money to buy one of our units, but you can use it to buy. So even if you don't want to buy one of our units, you can take advantage of this program as well. I'm going to give you a moment in case you want to copy these phone numbers. I think the most important one is our website, where we have a lot of information. It will also be where we post changes or availability of our orientation sessions when we have it. I'm going to get out of this. Oops, I'm going to end my slideshow, and I am going to pull up our website very quickly. You can see up here, this is where if you enter fairfaxcounty.gov/housing/homeownership, you come right to our screen. We have a couple tabs. If you want to find out, if you forget our email address, you can come here. The hours of our office are there, and the email address is there. If you want to look at other homes that we have available, you can go to this link where we have our available homes for sale, including our resale units. For home buyers, which is hopefully all of you, you can press on this link here to see our eligibility. So again, we have brochures available in Korean, Spanish, Vietnamese on our website here. This is where you would click if you wanted to see that little chart with our financial requirements again. And then this is where you would click for the orientation session. And I'm just going to show you real quickly that right now we do have an orientation scheduled for July 6th, 7 to 9 p.m. at South County Center. If we happen to be able to have that one, you have to arrive promptly by 7 o'clock because we go over so much material that we don't want people to come back and say, I didn't know this, and find out that it was because you arrived late. But we also will be posting here information on our Go Live meetings. So do keep looking at our website and pass the word along. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carol. And sorry we cannot go over the rest of questions. We ran out of time. So thank you, everyone, for taking your time to attend this workshop. It's going to be replayed on Nova Housing Expo Facebook page in 45 minutes, I think. And so if you still have any question, please go and visit the virtual exhibit hall. You can find all the tables, click on them. There are tons of information and contact information. Then you can send email, give us a call to ask, your questions. And thanks again for attending this workshop. And also there is the opportunity to get free private financial counseling. You just need to register for that. With that being said, thanks again and have a great rest of the weekend.